talk about Robert's shoulder and where that all stands?
Robert's doing fine. It's just a case of right now really getting all the information necessary, talking with his family, the trainers and doctors, and figuring out the best case scenario moving forward. So right now it's still 50-50 on it. Well, we'll shut him down. He have to have surgery and then move from there.
If he has surgery, is that like the end of the season for him?
Yes, he'll be done. He'll be done for the season.
And so at this point, when y'all going to make that decision, guys?
Hopefully,
Saturday, I would assume.
I think he's out for Saturday, but it's a case of just getting all the data possible with with the doctors, trainers, talking to his parents, making sure Robert understands everything involved, the time out of having to have surgery, and just going from there. But he's possibly out for Saturday.
Obviously, y'all would put the kids' kind of well-being first anyway, but knowing the fact that there is some depth on this team, that there is, some pretty decent alternatives back there, does that make that easier to say, hey, if you got to shut them down, it's fine?
Well, you're talking about a very talented player and a guy that you count on for production, even though he hadn't played as well as he's capable of playing, but a guy that brings a lot to the table. But the most important thing in talking with Robert, for me as a coach, is Robert's safety. That's the bottom line. Then obviously Tennessee basketball. So just have to do what's best for the young man, and I think if that's the best thing, we need to do it. It's a tough deal because he wants to play, he wants to be on the floor, but he's not the player he's capable of being because he has the shoulder and a brace, and it's tough to do the things he needs to do to be successful.
You said you practice with Sunday, at least on a limited basis. Did something crop up again the next day or two? Or was it...
No, it's just a case of it'll continue to happen. It can happen 2 days from now, it can happen 2 weeks. The pain could last for 30 minutes, it can last for 2 days. And it's just a case, again, of a guy not being as effective as he needs to be. Then you have to look at it, okay, what's the best situation with Robert Hubbs? Do you shut him down now so he has a chance to rehab and be ready in the summertime? Or do you prolong this thing to April or May? Then all of a sudden you're talking about 5 months, and who knows when he'll be back on the court and ready to go.
So how much was his shoulder affecting him when he was playing? Does it look like he was maybe shooting more than he was driving?
I think what it took away from his, in my opinion, his ability to drive to the basket and be aggressive, attacking around the rim, not really wanting that contact because of that shoulder. I think that was, he had the opportunity to shoot his shots, but he couldn't get it up like he wanted to unless he had spacing. But I think really driving to the basket, going to get big rebounds in traffic, I thought that affected him.
Is DeMontre kind of the next guy in for him at that spot?
Well, I think DeMontre, Omani, both of those guys are very effective at that position. So, you'll be fine, but you lose a key player, but I think we'll be fine.
You just bring a lot of momentum. Getting your first road win in January to start the season that way has to give the team a boost.
That was great for our guys to beat, not only to get a road win, but a very talented opponent. A team that was tough, physically, scored the ball, can defend. They were the best defensive team in the league, and we played really well offensively. So it was a great win for our guys, and now we have to do everything in our power to try to get this home game.
You had Virginia, who played defense really well, and LSU played defense really well, and you scored a lot of points on them. Are you that good offensively? What does that say about your team?
Well, I think we have guys that can play. It was never a case of us having talent. Just a case of getting the chemistry right, the flow right, getting guys on the same page, getting the spacing better offensively. We're shooting the free throws better. We're scoring around the rim better, and we're making three-point shots. We have guys that can make plays, and when we're making shots, it opens a lot of things up for us.
It seems you're not shy about changing the rotation in terms of guys off the bench, how much time they're going to get. What's your philosophy in terms of deciding on those minutes? A lot of times people will go with like the same 7, same 8. And it seems
well, what happens is the thing I tell the guys that don't play, you have to be ready when your number's called. So they continue to work. These guys are 6, 7, 8 o'clock in the morning working on the skill development with coaches, coming in watching film. And these are also guys that don't play because when your numbers get called, you have to be ready. It's part of being a part of this team. So they spend a lot of time getting better. And for me, it's just a feel, depending on certain teams, certain games. It might be a physical style brand. Okay, Monty Moore, we need you, man. Be ready to go. But all those guys are ready to play every game. So it's not a case I'll go to a guy and say, you won't play today. It's how the game is flowing. Like A.J. Davis, for example, is a guy that plays really hard, has been playing well. The flow of the game, LSU, we were playing well, so they didn't get minutes that night. So it wasn't a case of what A.J. wasn't doing. It was just how we were flowing, how the guys were playing.
What had you been seeing in Derek and DeMontre before?
Rebounding, and those guys have raised their level of play. But I think the biggest key with those guys, going to get rebounds, and I think that area we needed to get better at because we had two guys that rebound extremely well in Jerron and Jordan. We needed our guards to rebound. I consider Derek, even though he plays a 4, he's more of a perimeter guy.
Cuonzo, Jordan's assists throughout during this win streak. Is that a change in approach on him, or is it just guys making shots when they get it from him, or is it just kind of the flow of the
Well, I
offense?
think it's a case of him trusting his guys to make shots, but it's also how teams defend him. He knows he's not going to get a lot of clean looks, so sometimes he has to take tough shots, and he does that. But it's also a case of him attacking two guys on the pitch and finding his guys and just making plays, because he does a good job getting assists in transition.
Last year's Texas A&M game was almost a doubleheader in itself. What are you expecting from them this year?
I mean, they're a talented team. They've had some ups and downs. I think they got a flow going right now. They had a big win last night against Arkansas. They scored the ball really well. And we're, again, one of the better defensive teams in our league. So we have to do a great job of keeping our spacing, moving the ball, pounding the ball inside, crashing the glass, and trying to score in transition, because when a team does such a good job with their half-court defense, you want to try to get baskets in transition.
Will you learn about your team after a big win on the road to start league to come home against Texas A&M and how they respond?
I think so, because again, we talk about the same thing, one game at a time, and try to play as hard as you can play. And offensively, take care of the basketball, rebound the ball, make your free throws.
Jordan's always been a scorer, but here the last couple of weeks he's been dishing out a lot of assists. He's been playing better defense. Can you just talk about his evolution into more of a complete player?
Well, I think he's become that, really. And it's gotten to a point defensively. I used to be very hesitant to put him on key guys, and we used to try to scheme and try to not have him on certain guys. But he's done a great job, and he accepted those challenges. And I think it started against Virginia when he wanted to guard Harrison. I thought he did a tremendous job in defending him. But it's the case now I don't even notice him defensively because he's done such a good job.
Coach, now that Josh has done it for a few games, Antonio's done it for a few games, can you see teams treating you guys differently on defense, just because of them showing them not having those jumpers?
Well, I think so. But again, as well as Jordan scores the ball, and he's our guy to go to down the stretch, you want a basket. I think for us, we still want to get the ball inside. We still want to pound that ball inside, because those guys do a great job either scoring it, getting rebounds, keeping the ball alive, and our guys got to be able to make shots from the perimeter, but not only making shots, but slashing to the rim. So I would imagine so, but we just got to stay confident and keep shooting the ball.
Barton kind of warming up and continuing to come out of that little slump he had. Was your thought process just give him some time and let him work his way out of it, and how has that paid off?
He's done a good job, but again, when you go back and watch film on, he probably played point guard at Memphis maybe 20% of the time. I'm just guesstimating, because a lot of times when he went in at the point, Crawford was the point. He was more the two, where he was catching and shooting in transition. But now, as being a point, running the offense, getting guys where they need to be, I think he's done a really good job with that.
Did you say Jordan approached you and asked to guard Harris when you guys played Virginia? That was something that he wanted?
He didn't approach me now, but he wanted that challenge, and it was something we couldn't hide him. And it was a case, you have to guard this guy. And he was probably the guy that I was most concerned with because of how he moves, and I thought Jordan did a tremendous job in guarding him.
You've been pretty tough on him about his defense
Always.
over the past seasons. Is that safe to say?
Oh, yeah. It's just what we do with family, and I want him to be successful. I want him to be the best, and not average, because he has the best type of ability and skill level, and it's just demanding of him because he wants to be good, but sometimes on his own terms. And my job is to get him out of his comfort zone on both ends of the floor and push him to be the guy he's supposed to be.
Andre said you texted players every now and then, just keep their head in, and that had really helped him be ready.
Yeah. All the time. I tell guys, it's a fair. I tell guys that aren't playing, get ready. When your numbers call, I tell those guys, I really appreciate how you cheer on the bench for your guys. And that's not an easy thing to do when you practice just as hard and you feel like you deserve an opportunity to play and you're not playing. And for me, that's probably one of the hardest things as a coach, to not play guys and you feel like they worked hard enough to get minutes. And I just tell those guys, I really appreciate what you're doing, and keep your head in there. So I try to do everything in my power when an opportunity presents itself to give them a chance.
The way other guys are playing and scoring, so Jordan's not really having to carry the load as much as scoring. How much does that help in terms of him becoming a more complete player when he's not having to kind of carry
Well,
the
I think it helps, but again, I don't want him to look to get assists. I want him to look to score. Now, he's done a good job of getting assists because of how teams are defending him, so he's making good decisions with the ball, and he's trying to cut his turnovers down. But I don't want him to be out there trying to get 10 assists a game. That's not his job. He's built to score the ball. We need him to do that.
Is that growth of his all-around game just a kind of a natural product of getting older? I mean, there's just, I guess, not as many senior stars in college basketball these days, but back in those older days, guys would kind of expand their game every year.
Well, I think a case of him is getting older. He's becoming a better basketball player. Physically, he's gotten bigger and stronger, and it's also, more than anything, I want to get Coach off my back, so I might as well do it. So I think that's probably the biggest thing. Let me get Coach to stay off me so I can go and get it done and I can play. Because he's going to be on the floor. But I think when he's defending, he understands and the joy it brings to defend the way he's defending and scoring, and he sees the results behind it.
You're a defensive coach. When you see a team that has two post who can score. You got a great shooter outside, and then the other two guys start scoring like Antonio and Josh have been scoring. How do you defend that?
Man, I think it's tough when you got good players that are making shots. You got big guys that can score around the rim. You just got to limit possessions, try to keep the ball on one side of the floor and be aggressive and hopefully keep them off the glass. But with our guys, it's easier said than done because we got two of the better rebounds in all of college basketball.
You're hoping they don't find a way to defend.
Not at all. So hopefully I didn't give too many secrets away.
Stokes mentioned that, he had 15 points at Baton Rouge and some more shots right around the rim. Is there something that those guys can do to maybe kind of start making some of those shots? Is that just something that they're going to have to kind of be?
I think in their case, probably since the NC State game and maybe one layup Jerron had against Virginia, they've done a good job making layups. I think the ones like Stokes missed that little shoot, that was contact, that was pressure, guys were jumping. It wasn't like he had point blank. Maybe one in transition when Jordan hit him. But I think they're doing fine. I mean, we spend a lot of time working on layups, so I think they're doing a good job.
And the little change he made in his free throws clearly paid off.
It has. But more than anything is his confidence, just putting his hand on the ball and really the confidence behind it, but also sticking with his routine. Because last year he'd missed and he changed his routine, whether it's a spin or extra bounce or however he moved or whatever, all the stuff the guys do nowadays. And I just think just settling into a routine, he's done a good job.
Thank you. Thanks, Coach.